Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I'm back with another reaction. This time I'm doing a new show. It is called The Runaways. It is another Marvel property, because why not? Marvel's doing it, so why shouldn't I react to it, right? So this was suggested to me in my comments. Thank you very much for that suggestion. I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to check it out, but why not? We're getting to the point where a lot of these shows are going to be either wrapping up in the next couple of weeks or on hiatus, so it'll be nice to have a little something to tide over in the meantime, and this looked like it was a lot of fun. So the premise of this show, The Runaways, I have it here. According to them, it is basically a group of teenagers, 6 LA teenagers, find out that they're a terrible secret, that their parents have been lying to them their entire lives. And then they begin an investigation to figure out what their guardians are after, all the while the adults wonder whether or not their kids are hiding secrets of their own. So the guy who produced this also did The OC and Gossip Girl, so I expect this to be a little bit overly dramatic and very teen drama-y, because that's what those two shows were very much about. But I'm hoping that that doesn't overshadow the whole superhero aspect of any Marvel property, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the word on the street is basically these kids, their parents are villains, I guess, and they find out the hard way that this is the truth, and they just, I guess, from what we see here, go on a little adventure to figure out exactly what their parents are up to and why they've been lied to, like, forever. So it seems like a fun premise. You know, whenever we've got young people, there's always that added aspect of not quite being old enough to do whatever you want and trying to hide things from mom and dad, and that's something we don't really get in a lot of the other Marvel shows that we see, so I feel like that's going to be a really fun angle. We're not going to know any of that stuff till we watch the show, so let's get into it and talk after. Enjoy. Oh my lord, really?
Mira, ¿a dónde vamos? Cálmate, loco, tiene miedo. No tengas miedo. Nosotros te protegemos. Me gustaría probar. Sí, no.
Oh my lord, was this orchestrated?
¡Te estamos salvando!
Come with us.
Why? We're saving you. That's interesting. From what? Okay, that doesn't look suspicious at all.
Just come check it out. A hot meal, a shower, a good night's sleep. What is this, like a cult?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't use that.
Why are these kids all just so passive looking? Church of Gibborim. Gibborim? Okay.
I haven't seen you play this in a long while.
That's what I used to play with her.
Who's her?
Mom's cooking.
Don't sound so surprised. I made pancakes. Your favorite.
The kids that know you when you're young, no one will ever know you like that again. Don't give up on that. On them.
Right. Because you've done such a great job keeping in touch with your old friends from the hood.
Okay.
Well,
Uh-oh. Sounds about to go down. She look angry.
What are you doing in here?
Borrowing some tights. Mine had a hole. If Amy was here, she'd let
But
me into
Amy
her
is
room.
not here.
So what does it matter if I take her tights?
Oh dear.
Mom? I'm sorry.
Okay.
I
So
didn't mean
Amy's dead?
You too, son. Heard you played great. Though I also heard
Spike!
you got a C in Spanish.
I'm definitely gonna try harder.
Don't make him turn into a vampire.
If you were really afraid of me, you'd be getting an A.
It's an interesting way to get through to your kid. What's with pancakes this morning?
powerful. To let someone know.
It's like a cult.
Hey.
Must be good news.
There's like a really, like, everything's so
Thanks, Pete.
bright. Like the cinematography is so light considering that this is supposed to be about villains. It's quite interesting.
You okay?
No. I feel really weird.
Oh, Molly, sweetie, we had this talk. Menstruation's a blessing, not a curse.
Oh my
You just do your
god,
breathing
really?
exercises and drink the chamomile tea that I put in your thermos. And if that doesn't work, go to the bathroom and give yourself an orgasm.
Mom, seriously?
Oh my God!
Are a natural pain reliever.
It is good advice.
Putting in my earbuds now.
Listen to Mom.
Dance squad tryouts are today.
Oh my God, you did not have that.
You're just reinforcing heads for the constipation.
Oh, are you a little bit backed up, Kurt? You know, I have some bran bars.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
Let me.
This is the new age parent I am so glad I did not have. Like, let's have some boundaries here. Don't talk about my bowel movement regularity or anything else to do with my lady parts. Please, Mom and Dad. This shit kind of gives me Jubilee vibes. I don't know if that's on purpose. Oh, they all hung out. Okay, so one of them's missing, I'm assuming? Okay. Whenever there's robes involved, I'm like, that's when I'm out. What the actual hell? Ew! Oh, someone get that man some lotion stat.
He needs some milk.
God, what did you call them? Hand blasters? It's so cool you're still working on it.
Hand blasters? No, these would be bionic prosthetics that use myoelectric sensors. I'm calling them fist. Wait, why am I even talking to you?
Actually, I was talking to you.
Because he cared?
Is why I think we should all get together and hang out at my place tonight.
You're having people over tonight?
Why?
Did I invite
Are you
you?
interested?
Oh.
Uh-oh. Don't puke. Don't puke, please. I don't want to see it.
Tonight, I'll pay for the coffee.
I'll drink it.
Girl, the thirst is real.
Bro, we're so going.
Tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Peer pressure. It's a hell of a drug. Like, this is like severe abdominal pain. How are they just writing this off? What happened? Van looks like the mystery machine. Channel your cramps. Channel the cramps.
Okay, starts fine.
Girl! What? No, girl! Oh, here we go.
Yeah! I did
Hey, so she wanted superpowers. Cool.
You've done something different with your hair.
Thank you for noticing, Robert.
Ooh.
Forgive me if I'm too busy changing the world to notice that your bangs have grown out.
Don't be a dick, Spike.
Yes. Oh, Sugar Ray. Knockdown in the 8th. Now, every time
That's not
I come here,
racist.
I'm blown away.
Made some sound investments.
Oh, come on, you're being modest. You've done good from the hood, my brother.
Oh, you need to
That is
stop
probably
talking.
Not something I'm allowed to
Right
say.
now.
Wouldn't recommend
No.
Noted.
Yeah, I invited him over. All of them. And as you can see, it went really well. So I will be out back eating my way through pizza for 6.
Oh.
You want a party?
You. How old are you?
What does it do?
Set you free.
No, do not take a drug from a stranger. Don't do it. Your mommy will be so upset. Wait, are those bracelets power inhibitors? Wait,
Guys.
what? Chickens?
Here you go.
So these are actually test subjects, let's be real, right? Whoa. Yeah, I don't think he's coming, sweetheart. Bless your heart, but... Interesting.
Jeez.
So that stuff's either inhibiting or drugging them, one or the other. Good girl. I'm glad she did not take strange drugs. Hugs, not drugs, kids.
The triple goddess in all her names, faces, and forms. I summon the mother, the maiden, and the crone. I summon you into the light.
Okay, sweetie, I don't think witchcraft's a good idea. It's pretty much never a good idea.
I was born on a Wednesday.
I was also born on a Wednesday.
You gonna let us in?
No. Just kidding. Slam.
Plus, it's kind of hard to stay friends with someone when all they care about is being the perfect church girl.
Better than the insufferable social justice warrior.
You're a dumb jock.
Or Molly. I've got nothing against you, really.
I was about to say, she's minding her
about me?
business. Leave her.
Wow, you really do need a tutor.
And she needs a lime.
And a coaster.
past and religions are being persecuted, sometimes believers would build secret temples to worship.
Yeah, but this
Okay,
is
that took a dark
Brentwood,
turn.
not Bethlehem.
What is happening?
Yeah, zip it. So they're running the home to get sacrifices?
What just happened?
Girl, I want to see too.
Wait, don't!
What the hell was that?
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Okay. All right. Well, we're done there. That was the first episode of the first season of The Runaways, and that was entitled Reunion, and aptly so. So we got quite a bit of information with this first episode. They did quite a bit of exposition. I didn't expect as much exposition as we got. That's kind of why I didn't talk too much through this one, because I really wanted to hear like where the story begins, who's involved, all that good stuff. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about. So as far as world building, we didn't get a whole lot of that in this episode, like outside of the fact that we know they're in LA, and for all intents and purposes, they seem like they're pretty normal. So I have no idea like what this world is like as far as like, are people out there with powers? Are there any existence of any of the big names that we know about, like the X-Men or any of the X groups, or you know, anything like that? Like that, these are all kind of big question marks still. And we see that at the very least, these 6 kids, all of their families seem to be quite well off, except for maybe the 2 adopted girls. They're the only ones that seem like they're kind of potentially not as rich, but the other ones we see are all doing very well financially. But all of these kids seem to be all joined because it looks like obviously their parents are all part of whatever the heck is going on. The Pride, I guess is what they were calling it. And also there was this girl, Amy, who apparently was the older sister of Miko, and I'm assuming older, but yeah, something happened to her. This is the big thing. There's the big centering thing so far is that something happened to Amy. She's no longer here. Now, they said a funeral towards the end, because at first I was like, did she disappear? Like, what's going on? But then they said, okay, she had a funeral, so either Amy is dead or presumed dead. At this point, I'm not going to rule anything out, because this is a cinematic universe where people come back from the dead all the time or don't exactly die. But yeah, something happened to Amy, and it's apparently shattered this group. You know, they haven't spent time together, it sounds like, for almost a year. The parents still hang out, but oh no, more than a year. It's 2 years. 2 years. The mother said at the beginning, Alex's mom said at the beginning, that it's been 2 years since he's been mourning. So very interesting that that whatever happened is that her death, it just fractured this younger group to the point where they've all kind of become different people. This Church of the Gibborim, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Well, anytime you hear something with a church of and then a weird name after it, you have to wonder what's going on there. And then the show definitely made it very clear that like shows have this way of doing tropes when it comes to certain things, and when it comes to cults and certain religious sects that are a little bit on the shady side, they tend to do things where they're either bathed in light, everyone's wearing white, shiny faces, white teeth, you know, the glossy look to everybody. We've got the one girl there, I'm sorry, I should have wrote down more names, but I was listening, but the daughter of the head of this church, you know, she's blonde, she's blue-eyed, she's fair-skinned, she's just that, you know, that just exactly what you kind of expect to be the poster child of a bright, shiny, we give hope and rescue religion type of ideal. And in the beginning, of course, we saw those 2 Latino men who were, quite frankly, they were kind of harassing that girl. Like, I know they said in the end she'd be better off with us and we're trying to save her, but there was nothing about their introduction to her that would be welcoming. I mean, you got a young girl alone on the streets of LA and you're walking up to her speaking a language she doesn't understand, and you're all in her personal space. Come on, guys. I think you know that she's going to assume the worst before she assumes the best. But interesting that it sounds like there's a faction that, or at least a group of people who know about this church and know that things are not right. I'm interested to know whether or not they know the whole story about what's going on there, or they might just know that kids go in, but they don't come out. But also, I guess we'll just stay on the whole thing about the church. We see that that the mother there, I'm gonna need to get some names, I'm really sorry. I'm assuming it's her husband that's in the Chamber of Secrets there at the back of the church. He looks very, very bad. Homie has not seen some lotion in a minute. He's flaking real bad but just considering the room, the apparatus he's on, it looks like he is not doing well. He's probably clinging to life. But she said the line that eternal life, another has joined eternal life, or something along that line. So I'm going to guess that whatever this group is doing, it's somehow tied to immortality or the idea of immortality. And maybe this was started by her to save her husband. But those are all questions I'm sure that will be answered as the show goes on. With the kids, there was a few really interesting things that I liked about the children that are been presented to us. Anytime you have a teen drama, they usually try to get the whole, touch on each little diaspora you typically come across in an American high school. And of course, because we have the same writers and creators behind Gossip Girl and all that kind of thing, you got that whole, I call it like a kind of hyperbolized idea, like a 90210 for like the millennials. So you got all the little groups, you got your jock who's Chase, but he's not your stereotypical jock, which I kind of like. He's actually quite smart. We saw him designing some sort of a glove. We saw him reading physics books and all kinds of, scientific books. So he's actually a brain, but it's, he's apparently trying to fit in with a group that's not necessarily intrinsic to who he is, which is a science geek, for lack of a better term. And then we've got the two sisters who were adopted by their parents. And interesting that the one girl said that her parents died in a fire. But it's interesting that the two sisters, I'm not sure if they're both adopted. I'm wondering if they're from the same parents or if they were just both adopted by the same family. But the fact that the one knows that her parents died in a fire, of course, my first thought is, was that a natural fire? Was that maybe her parents were mutants and that one of them had a fire ability and something went down? All kinds of questions there. But that's where while we're talking about those sisters, we can get into the fact that one of them is aware of the fact that she's got powers, or at least that she's developing powers. And that's pretty awesome. When I think about the fact that, again, I said, I don't know what this world's like. We haven't got a lot about the whole giant world that they're living in right now. But the fact that she had that outburst that started with the cramps, and she thought, everyone was like, oh, they're menstrual cramps, but it actually was something about her power trying to manifest itself. The fact that she wasn't freaked out about that, first of all, and that she went home and then tried to practice what she was able to do and channel that power, says to me that powers are probably not a big thing, or at least not something that no one's ever heard of in this world. So again, I don't know where that puts us, whether or not they're okay to have these powers, whether or not people all know about it, whether you keep it a secret, any of that kind of stuff, but she clearly didn't seem too freaked about it. In fact, she seems psyched about the fact that she has abilities. But so far, we haven't seen anybody else seem to have anything that we know of so far, except for, our pretty gorgeous poster child girl who is wearing a bracelet that seemed to, I'm not sure what the bracelets do, actually. At first I thought they were power inhibitors, but she also passed out after she took it off. So I'm wondering if it also somehow subdues her or pacifies her in some way. It might be a combination of both, but apparently she says she's never been without the bracelet. So the fact that she's had it since she was a very young child makes me think that it was some kind of a power inhibitor potentially. And the fact that they put them on the people who are in this organization makes me wonder if they're all mutants, or if it's just a matter of a way to keep them under control so they don't run away for when they get sacrificed to whatever the little bed of light was that we saw in the basement. And then of course we had the culmination at the end, that this big, ceremonial space has been sitting underneath Alex's house for God knows how long, judging by the architecture and the brickwork. It's clearly been around for more than a couple of decades. So how long has this order been going on? Who's always been a part of it? Why is it there? Does it have anything to do with their mutation? All these things are huge questions. So I think this is a very interesting twist that Marvel's been doing these types of shows now, because even with the movie that's coming out next year, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's the first kind of horror movie that's associated with superpowered people. And I think it's just interesting that Marvel's kind of taking a different tack of always having the super great, justice and truth kind of hero, and actually looking at the flip side of mutants who don't necessarily use what they can do for the betterment of the world, and how it can potentially, you know, be really dangerous. Well, I thought that was a good episode, guys. Definitely a good intro. We've sowed enough seeds to make it, you know, interesting and make me want to know what's going to happen next. But we didn't give away too much. I mean, it was still pretty long, a lot of exposition, but again, still, as I said, lots of questions still to be answered, and definitely figuring out what's happening, what are these parents after, and what are these kids going to do in order to either get to the bottom of it and potentially stop it. So if you like this video, guys, please click like, and if you want to see more from this geeky face, go ahead and click subscribe. Until next time, see ya!